All right, all right, all right. Great to be here. Great to be here. Lovely Thursday, lovely Thursday. Episode 17, Xbox Party USA. We got a great guest in store for y'all today, Mr. Kraken, and he's a Phantom. That's right.
hello, everybody.
Like that.
Well, you know.
For some reason, I thought you said family. He's a family. I was like, what?
He's a Phantom.
He's a family.
No. I hear that.
I'm
Yeah.
a
He
family
has
Kraken.
For one moment, Bob became Vin Diesel. His family.
Yeah,
That's right.
Family.
That's what I heard.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phantom Kraken. I'm from WBG Podcast. It's an honor to be here. It's I don't do many podcasts outside the ones that I do with my friends, so it's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me. I hope we have fun later, or right now. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Later.
All
okay,
right.
so there we go.
Sorry, I had to run real quick to open the door to my wife. That's why I was didn't hear me for a second.
The guest
I was
doesn't
like,
want to be here.
wow, this intro by Phantom, it's got him out of breath. Oh my goodness.
Oh, my wife was opening the door. I had to run real quick. Come back. I'm sorry.
All right, and back to the regulars that you all know and love. The newly indoctrinated pony of the group, Mr. Powerman 4K, got his PS5 today. Why don't you tell everybody what you've been playing?
Oh man, I owned a PS5 for about 6 or 7 hours now, and I've really resisted the urge to divulge all of my personal information on Twitter. And so far, so good. We'll see how the rest of the night goes. But I've been playing. I don't know. I've really just kind of been tinkering and messing with stuff. I've been trying to finish up Guardians of the Galaxy on the Series X, and I'm probably going to. I don't know. I want to go back and maybe finish up Days Gone since I have access to it because I thought that was a pretty cool game. So just been kind of doing a little bit of that, playing a lot of the Witch Queen, Destiny 2. It's a lot of fun. So playing a lot of that too.
Awesome. Fabio, down there in Brazil, what have you been playing, and what is the price of milk?
Okay. should I always...
And have you milked any kittens?
Yeah, we
lately?
need updates on the milk status in Brazil.
The fuel is raising its price now. The milk may lower a bit, just a little bit. I don't know, but so far so good. I've been playing a little game called Super Mega Baseball that is just available on Game Pass. Super Mega Baseball free. Really fun game. It's something that is a different game from everything that you would expect from sports games in general, because you can actually create your own team with your own logos, and it is a really deep. It has a really deep team creator and really fun. It has an arcade style, but it can be tough as a simulator. So really fun. And I've been playing also. I decided to play tonight actually. Just a little bit of the new event that is going on with Halo Infinite. And yeah, so far that's it. Silence.
All right.
I was about to say, I thought it was cut out. Sorry.
Everyone died. Everyone just
All right,
died. Like
so-
everyone's just shocked to wait a second.
Well, I guess
Fabio
I'll
is
just
playing
jump
Halo.
in there and we'll see. Phantom Kraken.
So,
man,
Phantom, what is your poison? We all know you now. What have you been playing? I was muted. I'm sorry. I had to scream at my dogs
I mean,
outside, probably barking at something that's trying to save my life. But of course, I overlooked that. I took them for granted. I screamed at them to shut up. Now I'm back. I'm sorry. I was muted.
No problem. What is my poison? Well, obviously, I'm an Xbox fan. I actually have all consoles. Recently, my PlayStation 4 died. It just stopped. It sounded like a helicopter for a second, and then goodbye. But
Wow.
I'm like, it's been 7 years. I can say goodbye for him. That's fine.
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah, it's fine. Plus, that thing sounded horrible. Now, what am I been playing? I like to combine new games, old games. I've been playing obviously Halo every day. I don't stop playing Halo every day. I always play it, even though I know there's a lot of complaints with
Which,
it. It's fine.
yeah. I was about
I'm one of those that critique but don't hate, and I keep playing and support.
Mhm.
I've been playing Secret of Monkey Island, which I like
Okay.
point and click games. I started playing Guardians of the Galaxy, which is that soundtrack has no right to be that good,
Oh, dude,
like
so
for
good,
real.
so good.
And well, those are basically the games I've been playing right now. I haven't jumped into Elden Ring yet because I want to wait for my vacations to sit down and torture myself.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, so,
Good luck, sir.
no, I'm good. I'm good. I finished Sekiro. I finished Dark Souls 3.
Oh,
I'm a Souls
really?
fan, so it's just fine.
Okay.
I'm not part of those people. Like I'm FOMO. I'm not missing out. The only thing that I'm fear of missing out is my family and my kids. So everything
Oh
else is
yeah.
fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Slayer exclusive. What games have you been farming achievements on lately?
None actually. I haven't had much time. Yeah, I've just been
okay. Nice
I've
talk.
been I've been
Good talk.
no, I've been playing. I haven't actually played much. Like I said, I haven't had much time, but I've really tried to been focused on Dying Light 2, and played a little bit of Sea of Thieves, a little bit of Fortnite, a little bit of Rocket League, a little bit of League of Legends, and some ESO and Kings of Amalur. But like, I know that sounds like a lot of games, but like it's was very like maybe like an hour or two per game, so hasn't been much. Because I'm trying to like finish all those games at the same time, and obviously Fortnite, Rocket League, and League of Legends are, games that like you just like multiplayer games. So you play like one or two matches, and then I'm kind of done. Sea of Thieves, I was trying to just finish up the battle pass, and I did that. And the new one actually started today, I believe. So got another 100 levels to grind. But I'm really digging. I'm really trying to finish Dying Light 2. I think I actually no, I don't think I know. Bob, you're further than me. Um, but I'm getting there. I haven't gotten the what is it called? The hook. Haven't gotten
Yep.
that yet. The grappling hook yet. So, but I think I'm like right there, like right about to get it. So that's how far I am.
Yeah. Don't feel bad because apparently I've had the parachute the whole time and I haven't been able to figure out how to use it.
Oh, I love that thing. The glider is awesome. I
See,
use that thing all the
I don't know
time.
how to I don't know how to use it.
I've
I
been
got
using
it.
it to like get up to like to the high skyscrapers and stuff that you can get to without the grappling hook. It's awesome. One of the things that
Uh,
you may see around the city, other than the vents that like help you like rise with the parachute, there's actually areas that have excuse me, that act like wind tunnels, and those actually give you a lift as well, and they replenish your stamina. The glider has been awesome. Like I've been literally been able to like freaking like just get from point A to point B in like a matter of like seconds sometimes. So it's a great tool to use.
I'm uh, I'm jealous because I haven't figured that out yet. But on that note, Bob is going to cap hard for the game you see on screen, Elden Ring, because that's literally all I've been able to play. I'm in deep. When I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about playing it and I'm watching YouTube videos on where to find the best shit to get better at playing it. I got it bad. Pretty bad.
So a little
Is
bit
this
of a
your
side
first?
note.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I just want to let you know, like, my friend is so deep into that game too. He has like this spell. It almost looks like a freaking Kamehameha beam, and he
Oh
can
yeah, I've
literally
seen
kill
that.
bosses in like a matter of seconds. It's freaking insane.
Yeah, I took on my first, like, as you progress through the story, you can go anywhere you want, but as you find the points of grace, they kind of do give you a clue with the rays coming off of them what direction you should go in. And I totally have never gone in that direction. I've went to areas and just farmed them over and over, leveling myself up because I played the earlier Souls games, and to be honest with you, I died so easily that I'm making sure that I'm completely OP for everything that I happen to run across. And so I finally hopped in and played co-op with my brother-in-law, the other night, and he was like, "Hey, dude, what level are you?" I'm like, "I'm level 46." And he was like, "Where are you at?" I was like, "I've just been running around the world." He's like, "You haven't taken on one of the great bosses?" And I'm like, "No." He was like, "Well, this is going to be really easy because you're seriously overpowered." And I was seriously overpowered, but it was fun because you know what? Some bitch didn't kill me. That's right. But yeah, I am in hard on Elden Ring, and uh, I got a video for days on Elden Ring.
So
But anyway,
let me ask you something real quick. I'm curious because I read about this the other day, and it's kind of funny that because you can kind of expect this from these kinds of games, from Souls games. But in the beginning, there's like a point in time where it's like the very very beginning, where you're able to like basically take two paths. Now it doesn't seem like you can take two paths, but there are essentially two paths. Like, do you remember coming up to an NPC who's like in front of a really dark cliff, and he tells you jump?
no, I don't. I don't remember that.
Okay, so well, it's apparently in the very very beginning, and he basically so like one path. The guy, it's an NPC that tells you it's like it's just like a dark cave, and he's like jump off this cliff, do it. And then there's another path that is like lit up and it looks like really nice and welcoming and stuff like that. Now apparently, what the game doesn't tell you is that following the NPC's advice and jumping off that cliff actually leads you to the actual tutorial of the game, which teaches you how to like actually like fight and stuff.
Yes,
And a lot
yes.
of people have not actually followed that path, which is funny.
Yeah, I
Because
have
just
not
like
played the. I have not played the tutorial. I know what you're talking about now, and yes, I went straight forward to the light, to the prettiness, and had to learn the hard way
yeah,
all the
it's
way.
really funny because it's like the games have taught us like death is bad, right? But in this case, it wasn't death. Actually, you don't die, but it's so it's kind of funny. Like a lot of people just skip that part, just like you did. So very
Well,
interesting little tidbit.
well,
Wait a second. Wait a second.
avoiding death in this game is so much easier than it was in other games because there's a huge wide open world, and if you go and take a strike at somebody and it doesn't do at least a quarter of their health bar, I go the other way. Or I'm a mage user, I keep my distance and just throw everything I got at them.
You
But
got to get that power beam then, the one that my friend has. I'm sure you
yeah,
just like you'll be OP even more.
yeah, right. Well, now everybody knows what we've been playing, and I encourage everybody to like, share, subscribe. It is great to see everybody here on a Thursday night, and it's great to be seen by everybody on a Thursday night. And our first topic, I honestly have racked my brain for the last 2 days on this, and I cannot seem to pinpoint the point in time where the plastic wars on Twitter turned into this kind of crap. I mean, when did it become such such bullshit? Excuse my French, but not really French. So on Twitter, this individual, I'm not even going to give his name because he doesn't even, his account's not there anymore and he doesn't deserve the recognition. But he was in a apparently heated debate with some guys on Twitter about which is better, Xbox or PlayStation, console wars. We all know them all too well. And I don't know what, him being a doctor of some sort, meant to his credibility on an opinion, on a like or dislike of a certain platform. What does your profession give you to? It makes no sense whatsoever. So he was like, well, I'm a doctor, big whoop. What does that have to do with consoles? Well, they didn't believe him. They said, prove it. So he went ahead and took this video in the OR of a patient who is under anesthesia, had just begun mechanical breathing for this patient, showed all the paperwork for this patient, her or their charts, I guess, to prove that this wasn't a fake operating room, and then pointed the camera back at himself and gave a thumbs up. Well, this hospital happens to be in India. It is Bengaluru, India. It is the MediHope Hospital. And they immediately started getting review bombed on Google for this individual. Right now, the hospital is sitting at a rating of just 1.1 out of 5 stars. This individual, by doxing this patient on the interweb, has single-handedly, through stupidity and arguing over a piece of plastic, destroyed this hospital's reputation. It's just ludicrous. When did we get to this point where I can argue with guys all day long about what I like and what I don't like and why I think it's better? But since when did what you do for a living have any weight to your argument? And why would you ever go this far? I was speaking to Scrub Nurse earlier. He is a panelist on Gaming Beyond the Box, and he's an OR nurse. And he said that this individual could lose his license for this, and that's not something you can get back. And it takes a long time to get this. So what was this individual thinking? It's nuts. It's ludicrous that we've come to this. Power, take it away.
Yeah, man. I completely agree. I think that we've all, at some point in our career as gamers, right, we've all participated in the console war, right? Like we've taken shots. We crack jokes. Maybe throw a meme out there or two, right? It's all fun, right? But what the problem is some of these guys, man, they had taken it to a whole new level, and this dude was one of them, right? Like he was not just. Now, there is a big difference, in my opinion, between a fan of PlayStation and the type of dudes that do this kind of stuff, right? And we all see them on Twitter. If you don't already have them blocked, you probably need to. They're just toxic. They just hate, right? And they just sling mud, and that's their whole objective, right? This dude did nothing but hate on Xbox and people who like Xbox, right? That was his whole thing. That's all he did. So this dude gets into an argument with some fans of Xbox that were basically pulling his card, saying you're not really a doctor, yada yada, right? So in all of his grand wisdom, he decides to start filming himself in the middle of an operation with an unconscious patient and divulges all their personal information. Now, since then, this particular individual has shut off his Twitter, shut off his Discord, and I'm pretty sure, I think his YouTube channel is down too. It just goes to show you, man, that if you let the console war affect you in that kind of a way, then maybe it was for the best, because that we got to keep remembering, man, and it's all fun and it can be jokes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, we're gamers, and I know growing up as a kid, see, I grew up in a time when gaming wasn't popular, right? When comic books weren't popular, when superheroes weren't popular. Like when I was a kid, that stuff was looked at as a little bit taboo, right? And in that era, and they were still, in the 90s, trying to blame, video games for shootings and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, man, we're all gamers. You know what I'm saying? And that level of toxicity, nobody's got time for that. It's fun to crack jokes and roast and have some fun. But when you take it to that level, man, there's no time for that. You know what I'm saying? And he made his bed, and now he has to sleep in it. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, man.
And he did put out yesterday morning. He did submit what he labeled, the video was tagged as an apology, but in no point of that video did he accept responsibility for what he did. He deflected the entire video as to why people shouldn't react to what he's done the way they're reacting,
Right.
and how that was wrong, and not how what he did was wrong. I mean, dude, okay, making a mistake, and he said in the apology, everybody makes mistakes. Okay, well, you've in the whole video you didn't own up to any of them. You just said that people make mistakes. So are you talking about yourself or the people who are mistakenly bashing you and the hospital you work for the dumb shit that you did? Fabio, down there in Brazil, would they hang somebody for this?
Wow. Damn, bro.
Sadly, no.
Wow.
He said, sadly, no.
Sadly? Damn, bro.
Of course.
Fabio said, off with their head.
We only end up hanging people who asks me how much costs milk in Brazil.
Oh, damn.
That's a felony in Brazil.
All right, Bob. You can never go to Brazil then. That's it. You're on Fabio's hit list now.
I'll get off the plane and say, I'm thirsty. How much is your milk?
Oh my god.
To the gallows.
Wait a second. Are you going to ask this to a man or a woman? Jesus Christ, don't do this, please.
What? Yo, you got to take it there, man? Come on.
Don't do this, please.
All right. Okay. So, Fabio, do you have anything to add?
I mean, the worst part, in my opinion, is that he's acting like, come on, guys, you are over-exaggerating. It wasn't something that dramatically bad. Like, okay, I do admit it was a bit childish. But, like, dude, you just decided to film yourself during an operation just for fucking console wars. I mean, what do you mean people should not react as they are reacting? Of course, sure, there is a ton of people who are just bombing the video just because the guy is pro PlayStation, but for fuck's sake, ethic, where is it? God damn it.
So, Phantom Kraken.
Yes, sir.
How did we get to this point, man? I mean, we're just not. It's not an argument anymore. It's really getting stupid.
Well, if you look what people tweet every day, kind of realize how stupid sometimes humanity is, or all the time, basically. I don't know. When I saw the tweet and then I saw his video, first of all, I saw a picture with him with the thumbs up, right? I'm like, all right, he's a doctor. That's it. I left it there. But then I started seeing tweets and retweets and all this stuff, and I see the video. And my first thought, like, was a patient open on the table while this man was recording? And then I saw his documents, and I'm like, oh, this is bad. Without reading any other comments, I'm like, why would you do this? And then apparently I was like a few hours late, and everybody already destroyed a man online, which is exaggerated in a point because, of course, they're using it for console fuel. But as you're a medical profession person, why would you do that? Like, look, we all have jobs, our careers, and we have some level of personal information from clients that we can't share. I'm not saying I'm not a doctor, obviously. I'm not going to share my patients' either illness or anything. I have my job. I manage accounts. I manage credit card accounts, statements, and all those stuff. I'm not going to share it out just to prove a point. That's the most dumbest thing I've seen. Now, using it for console war is the worst part. Is like, Why would you do this? At what point do we tweet before we write? This is just me. I write something and then I say to myself, does this needs to be said, and do I need to tweet this? For 3 seconds, I think about it, and if it's not that bad, I just send. If it's like, nah, this is a bad take, I just take it off. That's it. People stop listening to themselves or stop thinking about the consequences of what they say, what they do, just because they're behind Twitter. They think they can do everything they want behind Twitter. And this man obviously is paying the consequences of that. I'm not pro losing his job because he has kids, he has a family. That's not cool with me. But he's a grown man. He's smart enough to be a doctor or anesthesiologist. Whatever he does. Wait, I'm muted?
No,
Hello?
No.
you're not
No, you're
muted.
good. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it showed that I was muted.
Holy,
Oh, man.
You haven't been muted the whole time, brother. Everybody
I'm
heard
sorry.
everything you said.
holy crap!
Okay, so I saw the icon send me. I'm sorry, my bad.
Just make fun with him. Just mute him right now. There you go. Simple as that.
So at the end of the
please.
day,
I have the
I'm-
power.
so at the end of the day, I'm like, maybe everybody should. Well, if you're married, right? Before you say something stupid to your wife, think about what you're about to say, and think about the consequences of the dumb thing you're about to say. Everybody should tweet in that manner. Like, if I tweet this, well, something bad will come back to me. So I just think this guy he is a smart man, but he's not a mature man to know what he was doing. And,
Exactly.
and it's just
Totally.
now what point? What my dogs now? At what point did we get to this level on Twitter? I really don't know. I honestly don't know. I just think people, just because they're behind a screen, they can do whatever they want or say whatever they want without consequences. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Back when we didn't have cell phones, you try to say something like that in the streets, you get smacked or maybe get shot. So maybe Twitter has an invisible shield to everybody to think they can do whatever they want. And now people are realizing that's not entirely true, because people can dox you, basically find where you live and basically destroy your life and cancel you. So people should be much more careful when they are trying. Just don't put personal stuff up there. Period. Make fun of whatever you want to make fun and troll anybody what you want, but don't involve your job or your kids or your family in this. It's just not necessary. That's basically it. It's just a dumb situation that escalated. That's it.
You know, when I was a kid, I'm going to show my age here, but when I was a kid, the big argument was what was better, Super Nintendo or Sega
Or
Genesis.
Sega, yeah, glass processing.
And when I was a kid, you know, if one of my buddies at school had a Sega and I had a Super Nintendo or vice versa, we would say, oh, well, dude, you should really play this multiplat on this console. This is why I got it on this console, or this is why I have this console. And the dude would get off with you at your bus stop, and you two would go in and play it and experience it together, and you'd get his honest 2 cents of what he liked or what he didn't like, or whether you were right or whether you were wrong. Yeah, social media has given all these clowns what they perceive as an untouchable veil, and it's not. It's got serious consequences.
Bob, can I interject really quick? I have a theory, man, and this is what I've been thinking about this for a long time. Have you guys not noticed that the console wars have changed this generation? Not just with this guy or anybody else, right? But if you look at like the Sony versus Xbox community and what people are tweeting and how people are approaching the console wars, I think the major issue and why things have like started to kind of devolve into the personal space is because they're losing narratives to talk about, right? You're losing like content to hold on to people, right? Or hold over a certain community, right? Like the balancing is starting to equal out. And I think that like the extremists and both sides of the communities don't know how to react to that. So they have to look for something else that has more weight to it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, I think that might be what's going on, because if you look at how people are tweeting and what they're talking about, it's vastly different than it was in 2013. Back in the day, everybody had plenty of easy ammo, easy shots to take, and plenty of meme-worthy stuff. And in 2022, in my opinion, it feels like they're going shot for shot. You know what I'm saying? Like one takes a shot, one comes out here and makes a successful announcement, and then the other one comes back. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, you're 100% correct on that one. I mean, I did want to say it, but I'm like, are we going to the console war right now? But
right.
if we go to the console war, if you think about 2013, how PlayStation fans and the extremist ponies, as we call them, it was just bashing year after year, day by day,
Yes.
and basically Xbox fans didn't have any ammo or anything to protect themselves, right? They were just receiving it basically and waiting for Xbox to do something. But how things has been changing since that's Xbox One expert basically with the power and then Game Pass acquisitions and all this stuff. Now you're seeing like I gotta quote my friend Dirt over here. You're seeing a new breed of Xbox fans. Now they're clapping back, and ponies or PlayStation fans. But I want to separate them because PlayStation fan is a good fan. A pony is not, and what you see online basically are the ponies. So they're not liking what the Xbox fans are saying or the bots. So now they're going a little bit more extreme with their opinions, and now they're going personal. And once you go personal, everything goes full on crazy, and that's just a constant back and forth. That this is better, this is mine is better, and everything. When you see it, it's fun and to a point, but then it goes to an extreme. Like you have this man. I've seen crazy shit online. I've seen people attack family members, being racist, all kinds of shit. Is that too extreme? Of course, but it is a situation that is escalating, unfortunately. And I don't even know if it's unfortunate because it's content at the end of the day for us, and it's fun.
Exactly right.
I mean, like the biggest problem, in my opinion, is that if it wasn't for the PS4 and Xbox One generation, I think that if we stick with the mentality that we had, that gamers had during the 360 and PS3 generation, I think the console wars will not be as bad as they are right now, because before, at the times of the 360 and the PS3, console wars were just like a meme. It was just something for people to laugh. It was just something to have something. And now with what happened with the Xbox One and the PS4, the big advantage that the PS4 ended up having, and now that we see the Xbox Series X and S having a comeback, some people they get just so frustrated that they have no arguments and they decide to appeal for the personal. Like you say, but for example, simple stuff like Finbar is a guy that knows what I'm talking about, because the toxic gamer community here in Brazil is really like that. Like you can say someone can say, Ghost of Tsushima is the best game ever and no other game is better. I answer, well, but I do prefer Halo. I do understand, but I think Halo is better. The guy will say, "Fuck you! I'm going to eat your wife," or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, or he's going to say, like, if you are showing off your on a face cam that is showing your room or stuff like that, he's going to say, yeah, and you are poor and you are a beggar. Yeah, that's how toxic people are. Like, because, like, for example, here in Brazil, the toxic PlayStation community, because of how the Game Pass model works, they call Xbox players beggars because they pay 1 Brazilian real for the library. And they say, no, this is ridiculous. You guys are just so poor that you are not able to buy games at release. And we are like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's not that far off from what I've seen from Twitter. I've seen a lot of people say that whoever has Game Pass has welfare, things like that.
Welfare
so
gaming.
It's not welfare for gaming, which for me is fine. I'm saving money. I really don't care.
Exactly.
So
that mentality is a sign of immaturity. Like as you get older, Like looking for ways to save your money in the real world, in my opinion, is the true sign of maturity. Like why would you continue to funnel the hard-earned money that you make
Exactly.
to multi-billion and trillion-dollar companies? Why not take advantage of everything that you can? Because gaming is an expensive hobby. Bro, I just dropped $1,000 on the PlayStation bundle. Like it's not cheap. And it's not, and it's a lot of stuff. It's a hobby that a lot of people do not get to participate in on a hard level. So yes, some people out there, they have to choose. And I think what happens is they want to validate their purchase, right? Like they chose a PS5, and if they see anything positive on the other side, it makes them doubt their purchase. So they have to reinforce that with toxicity or saying that, oh well, I go out and buy my games. Well, guess what? So does Microsoft, dude. You know what I'm saying? So whenever they put something on Game Pass, the money was paid, and your monthly subscription is what they're worried about. If that was the case, if Xbox really didn't want you to go out, if they really wanted you to go buy the game, then Game Pass wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
Right? The services wouldn't exist. PlayStation wouldn't be working very hard on structuring a codename Spartacus, which is basically going to be a Game Pass emulator. They wouldn't be putting their games on PC. These things are about money. And that's why I go back to these console wars. We are on the cusp of reaching a point where nobody's really going to have ammo on either side. It's going to be about preference, right? And they're not going to be able to say that one's better than the other, or one has this and now you don't have that. It's getting to a point, and we're very close to that. Sony is dipping their toes in, but they're already structuring their future plans to support PC, to support whatever Spartacus is going to be called, right? All these things that Microsoft started doing in 2017 with Game Pass. So pretty soon, like, we're not going to see that. Will you see timed exclusivity? Maybe. I mean, Sony does like to do that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to win in these situations.
One of the weirdest thing is I've never seen anybody complain because they saved a few dollars here and there. Like I've never seen somebody complain that he bought something on Black Friday. Like that's just like dumb, right? And at the end of the day, look, I'm going to tell you the truth. My kids this week entered school. You know how much money you have to spend when you have 3 kids, buy all new book bags and books and the laptops and the new shoes and everything, clothes and everything. And thank God for Game Pass. You feel me?
Yeah,
like,
I'm telling you.
Are you going to make me choose between video games and my kids? Of course, I'm going to choose my kids. But thank Game Pass is just $9.99 or $15 is right there. I just might as well pass the card and that's it. I'm going to be fine. But to insult people or make them think that people are beneath you just because they have Game Pass is just a ridiculous idea. But at the end of the day, when PlayStation is going to come with their service Spartacus or whatever the name is going to be, the Sony fanboys are going to be like, this is the best thing because they're making me save money, which, again, so at the end of the day, it's just hypocrisy from the fanboys at the end of the day for everything. Who's better, who has the bigger disc, who has the best graphics, whatever. At the end of the day, it's just a video game. So,
hey, I think we got a.
I
think we do have another panelist here. Slayer exclusive.
Slayer, are you going to kill someone or not?
Where are you?
What? Kill someone? What are you talking about?
Fabio, are you kind of violent today, bro? You
okay? Slayer, are you going to slay this asshole on Twitter?
Nah, I mean, I don't agree with the way he did, but I don't get involved in stuff like this. I don't think it's worth my time.
Of course I'm aggressive. You said the Minnesota Vikings suck. No, just kidding.
No, listen, I mean, like, I the only thing that I really have to say on this, like, because you guys pretty much, like, said a lot of the things that I've been thinking, but, I mean, for the most part, I feel like this is, as Phantom kind of mentioned a little bit, I don't think this is necessarily anything new. It's just more like it's more visible nowadays because of the fact that a lot more people are using social media and stuff like that. So, because I'm pretty sure people have done stupid shit like this, like in as long as humans have been around, pretty much. Like this is not anything new. It's just more out there because of the fact that social media is so big, and I mean there's definitely a lot more stupid people out there, I want to say, because not a lot of them get certain social cues and stuff like that, but I mean that could that's definitely a big part of it too. But yeah, I mean it's he's an idiot. I don't necessarily think like he deserves to like get killed like some of you guys kind of alluded to. That's a little bit extreme.
No, for some, for
But
fuck's sake, we're
I
just
mean,
kidding. For the love
no,
of
I know,
God.
but like he definitely should lose his job for sure. I mean, I don't understand why he couldn't just go ahead and like take a photo of his like doctorate or whatever, like his degree or something. Like if he wants to prove a point, like why do you have to go this far? Like that's, I mean, I
Now,
guess like his name
Why
would have been
prove the
on
the
there.
point?
issue with that though is like
It's-
revealing your actual name is pretty dangerous, man, because if the right people get that information, it's pretty easy to track you down. Public records, especially as a doctor in the medical field. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just Google that, and then maybe like a country of origin, and it'll probably pop up. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
See,
the issue
I
is like he should not have he should not have given in to random people on Twitter who don't matter,
oh no,
right?
of
Like these
course,
people don't matter. And,
yeah,
and and no matter how hard they call you out, or no matter how hard they clown you, at the end of the day, if it's getting under your skin to that level, like dude was like really was really pushing it like that, he should have blocked and move on, right? But honestly, if you looked at the dude's timeline, and I've seen that guy on Twitter on plenty of. Usually
yes.
he's underneath like all the Xbox posts. He's always there for like all the big announcements. And he's trolling, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard
yeah.
for me to feel bad, right? Because the dude brought it upon himself. My thing is like, dude, if you sling mud, be ready to get dirty. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like,
I don't feel bad for him at all.
yeah,
I hope I hope that's
And
I hope
like,
that's not what I'm coming across as. Like that's not the case. Like I just think that like if you're stupid enough to put someone else's information out there, someone that like you're supposed to have confidentiality with, then you may as well just do it to yourself. Like that's what I'm trying to say is like he went and and I get that like you're definitely right about that he could be tracked down if you reveal his true his real name or whatever. But I'm pretty sure this dude has Facebook. I'm pretty sure this dude has his name somewhere out there.
right.
So I don't think it would have been that serious. But like at the same time, like I said, like he literally revealed someone else's name, like just to prove a point or whatever, which is really stupid. So like that's what like is really stupid about it, is that you would throw someone else under the bus versus yourself, which a lot of people do anyway. But yeah,
Right.
Now, to speak on that, when I first entered the Twitter space, um, I'm very knowledgeable when it comes to hardware and stuff like that. And I would speak facts, and I would get a lot of pushback from people in the community. Well, how do you know this? And how can you be sure? And blah, 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 blah. And, I told them, which I do, I have a master's in electronic engineering and computer science. And as far as I ever went was giving them the school that I graduated from so that they could look it up and say that it was a legit program that I was a part of. Other than that, nobody knows my real name. Nobody knows anything else about me.
nobody knows my real name. I guess K.Y Bob
That's right.
means for William.
Yeah. It may
his
not even
no,
be that.
remember,
You never know.
you forget,
But
Fabio. His real name is Toys for Bob.
Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure. Oh yeah.
jeez.
Yeah.
But
Oh, KY
so
Jelly. I remember
I'm just
that.
going to give my 2 cents on what I think has happened and how we've gotten to this point. So, if you remember, it happened so close together that Xbox kind of just swooped in and filled the space, the void that was left by Sega. And there was still an equilibrium there. It was still 50-50. You still had, or I'm sorry, 33-33-33. You still had Nintendo, you had Sony, and instead of Sega, you had Xbox now. And so, and through the 2000s, it was pretty, it was pretty fair. It was pretty even. With the 360 maybe garnering a little bit of one, but not enough to really get cocky about. And then you come up on 2013, and Don Matrick does some of the stupidest shit that you can do from an advertising and from a product standpoint. And Sony took full advantage of that. And we saw so many shifts in the communities by people that used to cap for Xbox or enjoyed Xbox, preferred it, switched to Sony. And it became so lopsided that the level-headed people who liked Forza, Gears, Halo, appreciated those franchises for what they were and what they had become, they stayed Xbox. And it may have been a lot to do with their communities, because I know, if you remember, Destiny first released on the Xbox 360, and the Xbox was the only console that you got a free transfer over to the Xbox One with
Oh yeah, I
the game
remember
that
that.
you purchased. So you had that carrying over into that generation, which helped with your dedicated fans. And everybody else shifted Sony, and they shifted Sony hard. And up until the Xbox One X, Project Scorpio, there was little any Xbox faithful could say. And the PlayStation fans, fanboys, the ponies more than anything, got so comfortable with not ever having to deal with a Requiem from the other side. And now they've been bred this way. And now it's getting more back to that equilibrium of there are things to like and dislike about both sides. They both have good games now. They both have games coming out. They both have powerful hardware. I mean, yes, the Series X does have 2 teraflops, but in Digital Foundry's videos, I'm yet to see what that 2 extra teraflops is doing, right? So we're more back to equal than we've been since the year 2000. The problem is, it was so lopsided so long that the people because everybody wants to be part of the winning team. So you got the guys that came of age and they got into gaming when the PlayStation 4 was, I mean, they were rocking. And right now it's leveling out, it's getting even again. And there are some people that just don't have the fortitude to deal with that. And it's really coming out. I don't know if it's just because I block all the people that are just X-bots, but the people that I deal with are level-headed Xbox fans. And so that makes me believe that most Xbox fans are not really toxic. Not as much as I see from the Sony side. And that just may be that I don't pay attention to those toxic ones. But I think if I am right, it's because we've spent so much time on the bottom side of that coin for the last 9 years, since 2013, that we're humble. It humbled all of us. And we appreciate the whole broad spectrum of gaming. How many people have an Xbox but also have a PlayStation? Because we recognize the value of a great exclusive, which PlayStation does have. But my community, my heart, is still on Xbox Live. My friends are still on Xbox Live. And really, that's what I think's happened. I mean, you've got a lot of people that came in during the height of the PlayStation era, which was the PS4. PS2 was great. Don't get me wrong. It sold a shit ton of consoles. But the PlayStation 4, because of its lack of competition with the mistakes made by Xbox, really put it in a position to be the only thing worth talking about. And now it's not. And there are a lot of people that came in on that ride that can't deal with that. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. And on that note, that was long-winded, wasn't it?
Hey, it's all facts though, man. It is what it is, right? Like, just do better out there, console warriors. Do
Yes.
better.
Everybody,
There-
please, with things
There's
that
your
are going on
free
in the,
lecture.
with everything going on in the world today, be excellent to each other. Don't do something stupid or hateful or hurtful over a piece of plastic. We have people losing their lives in the world today because of countries invading other countries. Your console war, trust me, it is the smallest concern of anybody but yourself.
First world problems, man. First world problems. Always remember that. You know.
But coming off of that note, if you haven't liked, shared, and subscribed yet, do it. Had to get that in there, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as if they couldn't bring themselves under more scrutiny because of the recent reviews, Metacritic has revealed this week that Xbox was the top reviewed game publisher last year. And as a matter of fact, Xbox Game Studios had the largest average score in Metacritic history. Xbox Games Studio had an average Metacritic score of 87.4. 87.4 was the average. PlayStation average score was 82. 81.3 was the PlayStation average score. And 3 of the 5 Xbox Game Studios games, 3 of those games scored over a 90. Yes. That is, I mean, that's great for Xbox. And those people that played Forza Horizon 5, Psychonauts 2, and Microsoft Flight Simulator on Xbox, which were the 3 that scored over 90. But at the same time, it's just Metacritic. You know, they can give you a roadmap to whether or not you may or may not like a game, but it's not the end all be all. But the fanboys like to make it sound that way. And like I said, this was another step in creating that equilibrium of the absence of good scoring games for the last 9 years. And to come out publicly and say this by Metacritic, I don't know. They may have ruined their credibility with the ponies.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like they were all paid off. You know, obviously, you know, corporate shills and need to be canceled. But no, in all seriousness, dude, we all know. I think we can all be real, right? Like, obviously, you know, Metacritic does matter, right? It doesn't matter individually, but everybody does pay attention to that kind of stuff, right? Like, for instance, Sony is not doing a Days Gone 2, even though it was a successful and a good game, because it didn't score high enough, right? It didn't get a high enough score, and so Sony's like, you know what, we're going to move forward to another IP. So they pay attention to these things. It obviously goes back to what I was talking about before, right? And what you had talked about, the equalization. Everything is starting to balance out. 7 years in the Xbox One generation was lopsided, and it was lopsided towards Sony. Maybe not towards the very, very beginning, because I do think the Xbox One launched with a strong launch, right? But they fell off about mid-generation, right? And then in 2016, E3 2016, Sony really came out punching hard, right? So now we're reaching a point in the gaming space where everything's becoming equal. We're seeing, like, you know, quote unquote bangers from everybody. That's even Nintendo, which I don't really pay attention to, but you know, they got a lot of big stuff coming. Sony has big stuff coming, and Microsoft has big stuff coming, right? So there's more of a balance there, and it's good to see that Xbox is paying attention and giving their developers the time and the resources they obviously need to put out good quality games. A lot of people want to immediately go to Halo, and while I do think that Halo is in desperate need of content, but it's coming, and they did put out a really good story, and they put out a solid multiplayer that works. And at the time, was responsible, according to some people, for Battlefield 2042's demise. Right? So we can't downplay what's going on here. You know what I'm saying?
Like I do agree with the first part of what you said. Like I do agree that how can I say this? Like I mean, I do agree that Metacritic is a valid option, but I do not agree with the term that to say that Metacritic matters. Why do I say this? Because when someone ends up saying that Metacritic matters, I think it gives the impression that okay, this website is the ultimate decision maker if a game is good or not. When in reality, the true decision maker if a game is good or not is your own experience. If you play that by yourself, if you cracked a code and you decided to get the game for free, if you bought it, if you play the game on a friend's house, that's the definitive experience that is going to decide to you this game is worth my time. It's not a score, it's not a grade or something like that. And this is why I think that with Game Pass, Metacritic it becomes what it should be. Just a good research tool.
Right.
Simple as
And
that.
it,
And
and
a
it is. I'm
reference.
not saying it's the end all be all, Fabio, but what I am saying is like similar to a movie. Like I've liked plenty of movies that got terrible scores in Rotten Tomatoes, right? That they scored awful,
Yeah.
and
Perfect
um,
example.
right. But
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed those movies because I don't really care what that number says,
Because you
but
watched.
because I watched it and I enjoyed it. However,
Exactly.
those things are looked at and they are taken into consideration when it comes to sequels, when it comes to
Yes.
spin-offs, when it comes to further development in a series, right? So if something
Yes.
comes out and it hits a, you know, a 40 something, right? Like take Babylon's Fall, right? Babylon's Fall launched at 41 on Metacritic. That's
Crossfire X.
Crossfire X. That's not a good look, right? And us as gamers, we know because we pay attention to the industry. We know that Metacritic is not the end all be all, right? But the average gamer who is thinking about purchasing or playing a game may not be as hard into the industry as we are. So they see that red and they see that low number and they see that the game stinks on IGN and it's getting a 2 out of 10, that's going to affect the overall perception and the sales of a game. So I guess that I mean that Metacritic matters in its overall perception to the public and its widespread influence in the gaming community, right? Like whether we like it or
Mm-hmm.
not, it's there. People pay attention to it. It's constantly brought up in almost every argument that I've ever had, right? And they'll
Yeah.
look at something that's a point, 2 points, 3 points away from something, and one's considered a masterpiece and the other one's considered trash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, but yeah, but again, we what I'm saying, I'm not saying that Metacritic has no use. The same way as I'm not trying to say that Rotten Tomatoes has no use as well. I'm just trying to say that we need to, with the way that the industry is going, with the big success that Game Pass is, with Sony now trying to get a service like Game Pass, the codename Spartacus program, and Nintendo trying to put their library of Nintendo 64 and maybe other new games in a service of their own on Nintendo Switch. I think that we the industry is going to a place where those websites grades scores, they they don't matter. They serve as a tool and a reference. Like, okay, this game, it didn't review so well, it didn't get a good score, so let me play this on Game Pass, or let me play this on Spartacus. You know what I mean? Because this is the big factor that is going to say that this is a good game or not. For example, Quantum Break. Let's get Quantum Break. Do we all love Quantum Break here?
Yeah, I thought it was a great game.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, because I do agree as well. Sadly, the last battle was not very good, but still, the game is a really good game, and still, it didn't score very well. We have good reviewers and trustful reviewers like Angry Joe that end up giving a bad score by saying that the game is boring as hell. I'm not trying to say that Angry Joe is a bad YouTuber and a dishonest review. I'm not saying that at all, but like, people, instead of saying that, okay, this is a point of view that I'm gonna keep in mind because it's a reference for me to use for the ultimate experience that it is for me to play the game. And people are treating this as like, okay, this game sucks. Why? Because this website, because this YouTuber, because this content creator said it sucks. Like, you know what I mean? That's the problem that I have. And I think that the streaming service that we have now, they are a proof that the industry is tired of this shit, and I hope they are.
Yeah, I mean,
Am
I
I
like
wrong here?
the
Am I
Doom
wrong?
movies. The
Like, did I
Doom
say
movies I thought were really good, but Rotten Tomatoes hated them.
did I say something bizarre here? Am I
No, I mean you
crazy
pretty much spoke the
or
truth.
No, yeah, I mean, like I said,
Phantom,
I'm with it. Yeah, let's hear what Phantom's got to say.
Yes, sir.
Phantom, you like Metacritic? What do you think of Metacritic?
Uh, Metacritic is useful in some ways, and others is like, nah. So when it comes to this news that Xbox games apparently did the best reviewed games in 2021, highest meta, and broke that record. I saw that. I'm like, hey, good for Xbox. After having seven or last generation of what people consider a bad generation with mediocre games, having this in 2021, I think is a good sense of good things coming to the future, right? More quality games coming to the platform, and as a Xbox, as a studio, and as a publisher, we can expect more quality games and experiences out of them. That's what I took out of that. When it comes to people thinking that Metacritic is all be all and end all, my thing is because this is a trend now. When did an 80 turn to be bad? Like, now you have an 83, 85, and people are considering your game bad just because
exactly?
some other games are getting 88s and 90s, which they could be overrated, they could be underrated. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's all taste. I cannot put my I cannot say, like, if this guy from San Francisco, which lives like 5 countries away from me, and he says this game is bad, I don't know the dude, I don't know what he likes, and I'm gonna take his word as gospel. No, you should not do that. You can use it as a reference. I mean, if you're going to choose, somebody tells you, okay, you choose this 5-star hotel, or you choose this 1-star hotel, which one will you choose? Of course, you're going to the 5-star hotel, right? So at the end of the day, reviews do work.
If I can afford it.
Exactly. That's the other thing. If you can afford it. But if I like bad games, there's games that to me are completely trash, and I still love them. I mean, I think Rise, you got a 66 or a 65. I don't remember.
Don't
It's
you
extremely underrated. It's extremely underrated. That game is not a 6,
thank you.
but it's not the best game in the world either. But I loved the game for what it was, and that's it. I moved on. Right?
For 1 second, I was about to have an angry rant here.
Oh no,
Because,
don't worry
like,
about me, man. I'm a bot.
I was really like,
Don't worry about me.
I was actually thinking like,
The only thing I could
dude,
be really angry about and I
like,
can fight about is Halo, because
is he
I have a
really
love-hate
gonna
relationship with Halo.
No, no, it's just because I was going to say, like, is he really going to say that
No, no,
Son
no,
of
no,
Rome
no, no.
is a
It's
trash
extremely
game?
underrated, but people take this way too seriously. Now, when it comes to companies, and apparently a lot of companies and a lot of studios, the reviews are tied into their end bonuses or salaries even, and if you don't meet certain level of praise or Metacritic score, they get affected by, for example, Days Gone. The reviews weren't that great for them, so apparently they're not getting a sequel, which sucks because
Right.
I think Days Gone deserves a second chance as a video game.
Yes, it does.
Every single, and so it's like
Except
that sucks
for
in that part.
EA, except for EA,
I think
Activision,
Metacritic,
and
and
today.
yes, I think Metacritic, and when it comes to reviews, are good PR for the studio and the publisher, but it should not be taken as gospel, as truth, as the end all be all. Because at the end of the day, we like what we like, and no matter what other person could say, hey, if I like a bad game, I like it. Period. That's it. You're not going to change my mind, and I'm not going to try to change your mind and thinking the game is actually good. I just like what I like, and that's it. But I think it's good for PR. That's it. I don't take this as now. If I'm going to console war shit, of course I'm going to use this as ammo. That's it because it's fun, and
Right.
making ponies give you death threats is funny because they get
Cope
that
and
mad at it.
seethe. Cope and seethe.
So at the end of the day, for console war is fun. For PR is good for the companies. For us as customers is a good guide if the game is actually quality or not. And as a gamer, you should try every single game, even though the game is called Babylon Falls or Crossfire X, which are bad because I tried it.
Right. Absolutely right.
All right. Slayer, you got anything to say, brother? You like Metacritic? Do you hang on the edge of your seat to see what that score might be?
Not at all, man. I don't really like. I barely ever even like look at or read reviews because it's for me. It's very rare that someone has the exact same opinion as me on a game. So
I'm sorry. Like, how foolish of us! Like, we made a question for the guy who actually buys Red Alike games. Sorry.
hey, whoa, wait. All right. First of all, everyone here knows that it's just that those most of those games are not great, but I enjoy them for what they are, and I mostly buy them and play them for the achievement score,
Yeah, yeah, I know, I
for the
know.
achievements. So let's not even go there. All right, but I
I just want to
actually
mess with you.
I pretty much give every game a chance. Like there's very rare a time where like I will be like, you know what, this game doesn't deserve I actually try it out, even if it's like for like 30 minutes to an hour. If the game looks interesting to me, I try it out, and most of the time, you know, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't have to be popular. It doesn't have to be anything. Like I try the game out. Like I've played some terrible games. I've played Two Worlds. I don't know if you guys ever tried that game.
Yep.
That game was terrible in
I got
terms
the
of like,
statue. They got me.
oh,
They suckered me into the special edition collector's edition.
damn.
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, like so I played that game and I actually finished it. I actually played it from start to finish, and it was so badly optimized that the game actually freaking would freeze every time you leveled up. It was insane.
Mm-hmm. They never fixed that.
I
Yeah.
just
Bob is clearly interested in what you're talking right
I,
now.
this just reminds me how things have changed, right? Like back when we were kids, you go to a rental store, Blockbuster, or whatever rental store you had, you rented this bad NES game, right? Or Super Nintendo game or Sega game. That game could be bad, but you will love that motherfucker for the weekend. You had to love it because you had no other choice. Or if you had, like for me, I had RoboCop on NES. NES. That game was bad, but I
That
loved
was back
that
whenever you
game.
picked your video games based on the back of the
On the
cover.
picture, exactly. You look at the picture, the cover looks cool. I'm buying it.
Yeah,
I mean, this game was
exactly.
just terrible.
I'm committed.
Highlight was the other one I had. I never passed the first level because I never understood the game. There was a whole bunch of games like that, but you loved it at the end because you had no other choice. But now that you have a review system that could guide you for better stuff, now it turned into a sport. Now, if you don't have over a 95, you're not good enough. If you're a 7, you're utterly trash. I can't imagine a game being in the 40s because it's just barely unplayable and things like that. It's like if you're not 90, then you're not part of this special club. It's like, come on, guys, come on, stop.
You know, it's funny you talk about the box art and stuff because like technically I still do that today. Like I only look at the screenshots and the description and the trailer if it has one on the store, and that's how I base my like is this game interesting or not? You know, if especially if it's like one of those games that doesn't really get much traction on like media and stuff like that. Like, you know, obviously, you know, games that go on E3 and stuff, you know, I'm a little bit more informed on because, you know, we get a lot more information on them. But like some of them, like, you know, some of the more underdog games and like the less known games, like I just look at the Xbox store and I look at the screenshots, look at the trailer, read the description. You know, most of the time, if it's an RPG, I'm there. Like RPGs are just my thing, and like I'll play like any of them. Like I'll try out any of them, as bad as they are. Like I said with Two Worlds. But yeah, that's literally what I do these days. It's like this game looks interesting. The screenshots look cool. I like the world. I like the graphics. You know, it looks interesting. Let me give it a shot. I've purchased games that I kind of regretted, but not that many, honestly, because like I try to like, you know, like my point of view has always been like let me try to look at it from a perspective of what the devs were trying to do, or like we're trying, like the message that they were trying to convey as they were making the game. Let me not just base it on like my own likes and dislikes, because sometimes that actually has led me to enjoy a game more than if it's just like if I just focus on like what I like about the game, or like what, you know, I like in a game. So not a lot of people do that, but yeah.
Here's another trend that I wish reviewers or magazines or websites do is to re-review the games. I wish they could have done that because I know there's a lot of games that come out on the bad light, like they're broken, they're buggy, and they get with these bad reviews. Like I'm going to use Days Gone. That game was buggy as hell when it came out. Horizon Zero Dawn was buggy as hell as it. It got good reviews, but Days Gone didn't. But if you check that game a year later or 2 years later, now that it's fixed, it's been patched and everything with all the DLCs, I think the score could have been better for that game and hopefully get a sequel out of it, right? Now that it comes to PC, a lot of people are liking the game on PC and it got good reviews on PC. So Sea of Thieves was another case. It came out and it was like, here's the water. It looks beautiful. That's it. You give it Sea of Thieves now, and that thing is like filled with content, and obviously the score is not going to be the 60 that he got I think 4 years ago when that game came out.
Yeah.
And so I mean there's so many games that came out in a bad light, or the moment wasn't great for them, and then when you bring them a little bit to the future and you replay the game, you're like, this game is not as bad as people said back then, or it wasn't that great as people were thinking back then too. So I think re-review should be a thing too. But
I mean, Fallout 76,
exactly.
Final Fantasy 14. I mean, the list could go on and on.
State of Decay 2.
State of Decay 2. And no offense to everybody, because I know everybody's hyping and they're playing it, but let's all be real. Elden Ring has some technical issues. Okay,
True.
You know what I'm saying? So so for me, it's like. And look at the scores. Look at the scores that Elden Ring got. You know what I'm saying? Like how does the game score a 10 out of 10 when it has technical issues? You know what I'm saying? So we can't take these scores to just face value, right? Like it's all about your experience, right? And you could like something. Some people don't like shooters. So no matter what you do, they're not going to enjoy Halo, right? So it's easy for them to shit on it because they don't like it, and they're never going to like it, right? But that does not make it a bad game, right? It's just your opinion on what this game is to you, right? Like I put like 4,000 hours in Destiny 1. That game scored a 69, 67 Metacritic. Came out, according to them, broken and lacking content. I played it for 4,000 hours, and now it's one of the it's always in the top charts of most played games, Destiny 2 anyways. You know what I'm saying? So these games have abilities to turn around. And I do agree, re-reviews should absolutely be a thing because, like I said, the public looks at that kind of stuff. And if IGN, Metacritic, and all the major outlets came back and said, hey, you know what? We gave this game a bad score, but guess what? Here's what they have now. Here's what they offer. And that could kind of even the playing field and make it fair because these developers work hard. And yes, they dropped something and it wasn't up to your specs or your likings or what have you, but especially developers that take their time and support content. Like Bob said, State of Decay 2 has had constant updates. These guys are just steady working on a game that, has never had the highest reception, and they continue to support it, and on top of developing State of Decay 3. So
And
You want to
big
know?
shout out to 343 Industries, because
Yeah.
Master Chief Collection was garbage.
Oh yes.
oh my
And
god.
now Master Chief Collection is the end all be all collection
Oh,
of
It
games.
is.
so
It
good.
is
Flawless
the
and solid.
ultimate Halo
One of the
experience.
studios that I'm glad how things turned out for them was the guys from No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
That game came out
Oh yeah, that's
bad,
another one, dude.
empty. It was a mess. But the guy went away. He disappeared and he started working.
You
Would you
mean?
look at No Man's Sky right now to what it was when it came out on the PS4? That game is great, and it has a big following. Even won an award recently on the Game Awards. I think it was like
Yeah.
best ongoing game. That he was surprised. He was even drinking something. He was like, "What? I won!" So it's like those stories like that. I like. Like
I gotta
Cyberpunk
be-
came out as a mess. Apparently, it's working now, and it should be better. Halo, I have a love-hate relationship with it, but the here in 2 years, Halo's gonna be fantastic.
but here's the thing.
But that's a whole different story with
we
Halo.
already-
That's a whole.
just-
That's an
Should-
entire
should-
different show.
Should we
So-
talk about that? Should we talk about
I
that?
don't know.
Because,
That depends on the
like,
members.
okay, go on. Go on.
Well, that's not the topic. The topic is Metacritic.
One thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, one thing that I just want to add, like, you definitely, I agree with you guys in terms of like that they should hopefully, like, I mean, and who knows if this is ever going to happen, but they definitely should update some reviews for certain games that, like, are live service games that get updated, that get regular updates and stuff like that, or like even like regular games that have like patches and stuff like that. But one of the things that I really, really hate, and this is one of the reasons why I don't really look at reviews, is and I'm not sure how often this happens anymore, because like I said, I don't really like follow it anymore, but I really hate when I see a review done by somebody who doesn't like that kind of game. Like, if you're not into an RPG, if you're not into RPGs, don't review an RPG game, because you're just gonna bash it, even though it may be good. Like, that honestly could be a double-edged sword, right? Because then if you do love RPGs, like to like, to the very core, then you're also gonna maybe like make so many positive comments that it's also gonna be like bad, because then you're probably gonna miss some certain things that some people are gonna pick up on. But like, I don't like it when they give reviews to people that don't like that genre or don't like that type of game, because
Well,
it
that's
makes
a
no
double-edged
sense.
sword too. Because if you give the review to
Right.
a fanboy, then he's gonna over.
Exactly.
overrate it.
That's what I just, that's literally what I said. Yeah. Like, it sucks, but like at the same time, but I really, but I think it's, they have to, I mean, as a journalist, you're supposed to be, a little bit fair, right? So you don't, hopefully that you like the game, but not enough to, like, ignore its flaws. But like, I think it's worse though when it's somebody plays a game that doesn't like the game. Cause like, imagine if somebody reviewed Elden Ring who did not like Souls games, who despised them. That game is going to get a terrible review. And obviously people are like, have their own opinions. So, if I like Elden Ring, or if I like the Souls games, I'm probably not going to listen to that review, because you can kind of tell when a person doesn't like a game. But it's like, what's the point of writing a review if you really don't like that kind of game, like that type of game? Like, it makes no sense to me. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is never going to happen, because people are just using these scores as, I mean, come on, the people that we deal with on a day-to-day basis in the Twitterverse, and they're not worried about what actual I mean, come on, they were comparing Survivor scores of two different reviewers at Survivor, saying, well, they gave Halo this, why did they have to give Horizon Forbidden West this? It was two different journalists, you dumbass.
And at the same time, they interviewed several of those people who did the reviews on Elden Ring and admitted that they gave them hundreds and tens based on just the hype of the game. So, in my opinion, outlets like Stevivor need to exist to balance the mold, right? There needs to be you need to hear somebody who doesn't like the game, right? Because they're gonna tell you they're not gonna sugarcoat stuff. Like somebody who loves Souls games, like yes, I get it. Like you love Souls games, but tell me why I, as a person who doesn't, should play this game, right? Like that's what I want to hear. Give me a reason to step into this genre. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that you would get that from somebody who's just all about these games, because you're not going to get a a proper, you know what I'm saying? Like it would be like if I was talking about Destiny, of course I'm going to hype Destiny because I love Destiny. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm going to hype that up and I'm going to tell you, yo, you should definitely play this, but you have to hear somebody coming in and saying, you know, I want to hear the negatives too, because do I want to invest my time in this game? You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. Like, also, what do you do with reviewers that say, like, for example, what was the Kojima game name? Death Stranding.
Mhm.
I saw a review. I think it was IGN Italy or somewhere else. I don't remember. That said the game is boring. It's tedious. Blah blah
Yes.
blah. It's 9 out of 10. What?
I remember that review. It was IGN Italia.
Yeah. So it's like, are you serious? So the game is tedious, boring, not for everybody. 9 out of 10. What the hell kind of review is that?
Somebody didn't study the chart before they started reviewing games, bro. Like,
So it's like,
you missed
I
the
agree
mark.
that there must be people out there, because it is impossible to make a game that everybody loves, right? There must be somebody out there that says, no, I don't like it, and here, this is why. And if Stevivor is the website that just look like the black sheep as everybody, so be it. They must be there.
This takes us into our last topic. Stevivor is officially on Sony's blacklist, which means that Stevivor will no longer get early access to Sony games before they're released to the public, which means Stevivor will have to go out and buy a copy of that game at the same time everybody else does. That doesn't mean that their reviews will not still hit Metacritic. They are still a Metacritic member. Their reviews will still count.
Like I find that topic really interesting, especially because of one question that I really need to ask you. What the fuck is a survivor? I have no. What is this? I never heard of them.
It's a review website.
Apparently, a review website from Australia, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
that prominently gives Xbox good reviews and PlayStation doesn't.
So what it means at the end of the day,
I never heard of that.
what it means at the end of the day is that Stevivors review is still going to count towards that score. It could possibly still bring that score down. What you've done by blacklisting Stevivor is you've increased the chances that they're going to give you a bad score, because they are not going to be able to have time with the game to get the review right. They're going to get the game the same time the public gets the game, and it's going to be rushed, and it may be taken for granted. So at the end of the day, why Sony blacklists anybody that has an impact on Metacritic? I mean, and this right here, blacklisting Stevivor proves to me that Sony cares about the reflection of their games on Metacritic. Otherwise, why would they do it? In doing it, they're just hurting themselves, because the reviewers aren't going to get ample amount of time. They're going to be rushed. They're going to take first impressions, and they may not get over. Sometimes you don't get over those first impressions until you're halfway through the game, and it really gets you. Maybe something in the story really speaks to you, and you're like, you know what, this is got me. You know, it just like that one book that you pick up in the library, and God, this book is 2,000 pages. You read the first chapter, and you're hooked. You're like, wow, this is a really compelling story. I can't wait to see what happens in chapter 2. But it's 2,000 pages long. So just looking at it, you go, oh my God, that's hell. I don't want to read that. but then you start reading it and you're like, wow, this is really good. That same thing with their games. You're going to play 30 minutes of it, and you may not have a chance to get that that bad taste out of your mouth that's about something you may not like. So I think we're going to see lower scores from Survivor on Sony games, and we shouldn't really hit Survivor with it because Survivor is their hands are tied right now. There you go.
Yeah, I think it's a weird situation. Like they're directly tampering with the Metacritic score now. Like they don't want their games to be lowered, or they just want a whole bunch of yes people to say their games are great, which is not a good thing to do. And also they're tampering with other things. Like if you remember, GT7 had good reviews. 88 is not a bad review. But and then you saw a day later that they activated the microtransactions of the game. So reviewers did not see that. They did not see that a car cost $40. So if that would have been live before the game came out, probably it would have been sitting down on an 83, maybe an 80, because of those microtransactions, those crazy things. Because I remember Forza Horizon 6 got slammed for that because of microtransactions. So Sony is directly doing stuff just to have their scores high enough to, be in that part of the quality or that special 90 club or whatever. So I think that's a bad precedent from them to do those things. I don't like it though. I mean,
Let's be honest that it's not surprising that Sony is doing that because, for example, wasn't there a case where during the Last of Us Part 2 reviews where a website revealed that Sony was going to blacklist them just
yeah,
because they gave a 6 or an 8 out of 10 instead of a 10?
yeah. Sony apparently does that a lot. Imagine if Microsoft and the Xbox One generation started blacklisting every single website that gave him a game of
Here's
60.
the thing. Let's be
Metacritic
honest.
would never have a score for an Xbox game. That's what would
Exactly.
happen.
Do understand that both all those companies, there was a time where you could clearly see that they were paying websites to give a good grade. You could clearly see that, and you see some of them still doing it now. And I'm talking about EA, especially because the Madden games receiving 9 out of 10 is just it's just like it makes no sense at all. But still, okay. But yeah, I think that Sony. I don't see where's the surprise in that because we've always knew that Sony did that. They always did that. So what's the difference?
Yeah, so true.
I'm not saying Sony is bad. I'm just saying that that practice is no news.
I think you should leave these reviewers do whatever they want at the end. If
It's
you have
it's
websites like Push Square, which is going to give a Sony game a 10 out of 10, and then you have Xbox Live giving it a game a 0 out of 0, then it evens it out when some real reviewer comes out. So,
just don't give anything to Kotaku.
Oh God.
Kotaku is oh my God. That's, I mean, the other thing that bothers me with reviewers is that they play the game, they like the game, but they don't finish the game. But what if you have a case like Mass Effect 3, which the game was fantastic until you got the end? And if you didn't reach the end by the review, then how do you know the game wasn't as good as people are saying? So I think reviewers should finish their games too, because that's another precedent that is coming out. Like
Which
now they're
can't
not finishing
happen.
their games, but
Which
because
can't
they want
happen
that
if you're
exactly, rush to do something. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
Elden Ring, there's people still playing it. I haven't played the game, but I haven't seen anybody reach the end of the game yet. And these are regular people playing every day. Now a reviewer, they give you a code. You got to finish this in 2 weeks. How do you expect a person to experience every single thing the game has? So whatever he liked for those 2 weeks, that's the review, and that's not good. So reviews is just this weird thing. It's a hard thing to. I think reviews should be fixed in a better way, but
I
at
mean,
the end,
so I see reviews working and being a valuable asset if people like followed a certain personal reviewer. Like okay, I did the same thing when I was back in my much younger years, when you would go to the store and you get that new shiny episode of Electronic Gaming Monthly, and you would start reading, and at the very beginning of the article, before you read the first word of the article, it says reviewed by such and such. And I came to know the names of the reviewers at Electronic Gaming Monthly, and I knew right before I started reading it, he doesn't review these kind of games. I can't wait to see what that actually made me want to read it more. I'm like, well, I wonder what he has to say about a platformer. And it never worked out. But I would agree with it in the same way if it happened that way, but it doesn't, because like we saw with Survivor. Everybody sees Survivor. They didn't even bother to see who did the reviews for the two games that they were comparing. If we were on a more personal level and we paid attention to the actual journalists like we used to that wrote what we are digesting, things would be different. But I don't believe that's going to happen, because everybody these days takes things at face value, and face value is used as ammunition.
You're right. Go. Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself, sir.
But on that note, that finishes our episode 17 of the Xbox Live Party USA show.
Jesus Christ, and Slayer's back. Like right at the end of the episode.
Well, I mean,
sorry about that.
It's all right, brother. We just talked more about the blacklisting of Survivor and how they aren't going to get Sony games early. So they're going to be rushed, and their scores are still going to count against Metacritic, and so on and so forth. Well, we're going through the outros right now, bro. So you got back just the perfect time to let everybody know where they can find you.
Am I the only one that didn't go? Sorry.
No, I haven't even started yet. But
okay, good.
We can go from bottom top.
Up to you. I mean, whatever you want to do.
All right, Slayer exclusive. Where can people find you at, brother?
All right, well, you guys can find me here with you guys, chewing the fat every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And other than that, I'm on Twitter, and I have my own YouTube channel, Slayer Exclusive Gaming. And on Twitter, I'm just Slayer Exclusive. On Xbox Live, also my gamer tag, Slayer Exclusive. So, yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. And you all do want to follow him on Xbox, so you can see what game you've never heard of he's playing, because it has easy achievements. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just looking at my history, because I got some interesting games in there that people probably never heard of.
They are. They're really interesting.
Like, has anyone ever here heard of Asterix and Obelix?
No, I can't even spell it.
There you go. It's actually a European cartoon that they made into a game. Pretty fun. They have a couple games out, and it's pretty awesome.
Phantom Kraken, brother, thank you for being such a great guest, and please tell everybody out there where they can find you.
Before I do that, I want to shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for having me. It was a nice evening. I love talking about video games, so anytime you want to have me back, just as long as I'm not working, you just hook me up, and I'll jump in the show. So you can find me at I never do this actually. Phantom Kraken at Twitter, same thing. You can always find me at WBG Podcast every Monday at Dirk Griggity's channel. Sometimes you can find me on TTS Podcast at Sean786 on Fridays. That depends on my work schedule. And that's basically it. My Xbox account is Phantom Kraken, and that's it. That's basically it.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna hold you to that. You may be getting invites in the future.
All right. I'll be on Halo.
Of course.
Fabio, where can people find you, and let everybody know when they can find you in the line for milk?
just won't stop. Neither you and Radders are going to stop. Okay, I learned to deal with it. Okay. Uh, well, you can find me here as a panelist slash guest. I don't know what I am here, but yeah, I'm always enjoy to be here on this great show. You can find me also on Twitter as FPOAmorin97. You can find me on Xbox as Buffon Lizard 8. Don't ask about the name. And yeah, and you can find me as well on our gaming live streams during the weekends when we end up doing it, because at the moment we do have a lot of work, real life and stuff.
Awesome. Power Man 4K, brother in arms. Where can people find you?
Man, you can find me right here every Thursday at 9 p.m. And occasionally I will be guest, other podcasts. Just depends on the time. Of course, I'll be on Twitter at PowerMan4K, letting you guys know where I will be on these different days. And other than that, man, I do have a YouTube channel. Expect more content coming. And other than that, man, I'm gonna keep it gaming. So it was a great show. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. This is your host, K.Y Bob. I want to start off by thanking everybody for the kind and supportive words about my wife the last couple of weeks. She's doing good. She's tired and she's in some pain because she was taking some steroids to get up and do things around the house. She kind of overdid it, and now she's paying for it. But she started her physical therapy to strengthen her for her surgery. And thank you, everybody, for the support and the kind words. And you can catch me, K.Y Bob, hosting this show on Thursdays. K.Y Bob PlayStation, K.Y Bob Xbox, K.Y Bob Twitter. Sometimes the O and Bob is a 0, and sometimes there are underscores between the K, Y, and B. And as always, it was nice to see everybody, and it was nice to be seen. Thank you for telling a friend, and good night, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Later.
Have a good night, everybody.